What's up and welcome to episode Gizmo So Tech. Today we're going to talk about the Huawei P20 Pro versus the Galaxy S9 Plus. Which one is a better value? Which one is a better phone? Which one should you buy? And before we get started, I want to let you know I'm giving away an iPhone 8 Red for the month of May. If you want to enter that giveaway, link down below, and I'll be updating that link with whatever latest giveaway I am doing. So just go ahead and check that top comment and you'll see that latest giveaway. So we're going to talk about the displays, the battery life, the performance, special features, and of course, their cameras. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Both phones have OLED displays, but the S9 has a higher resolution display, Quad HD, versus the P20 Pro's Full HD Plus. That means the S9 Plus has a higher DPI of 530 versus the 408 of the P20 Pro. In real life, it's actually really hard to tell the difference. Now, the S9 Plus has a taller aspect ratio, especially when you actually use the Huawei and realize that the Huawei cuts off the top of most apps to hide the dreaded notch. And whenever it does this, it results in an 18:9 display aspect ratio. And I kind of like that. I think it's a much more elegant solution than the iPhone X. This allows you to get the full benefit of the extra long display when you're using something like an internet browser or Facebook, but then when you're playing a game or an app, you don't have to worry about the notch cropping into the video or game that you're playing, cutting off content or cutting off buttons that you might be able to press if the notch wasn't there. Now, color-wise, both of these displays are absolutely gorgeous. Color saturation is fantastic, and colors just pop on both of these OLED panels. Now, the interesting thing about the S9 Plus is that its display has an ambient light sensor that downs its max potential brightness when indoors. This increases color accuracy, but if you like having a bright display like me, the P20 Pro will actually get brighter when you're in indoor environments. That said, if you take it outdoors, the S9 Plus gets significantly brighter, as you can see from this clip. Both phones are perfectly usable indoors and outdoors, but basically the P20 Pro is a little bit better indoors, the S9 Plus is a little bit better outdoors. Overall, both displays are absolutely excellent, and I don't really have anything to complain about except for the fact that they're not 120 Hz displays. I love 120 Hz displays, and these aren't 120 Hz, so come on. 120 Hz already. Let's do it. Now, when it comes to battery life, the S9 Plus has a 3,500 milliamp battery and the Huawei P20 Pro has a 4,000 milliamp battery. That's a pretty significant difference. Now, the bigger difference in terms of what you're going to get in actual battery life is the resolution. With the Quad HD Plus on the S9 Plus, it is just going to work through that battery a lot faster. Plus, it's a smaller battery to begin with, so you're definitely looking at quite a bit less battery life on the S9 Plus. This is going to be especially evident as these phones age. The S9 Plus, right out the bat, you're going to be able to get through a single day pretty easily unless you have a lot of heavy use. You're going to get about 4.5 hours of screen on time. But with the Huawei P20, I could see you easily getting 6 to 7 hours of screen on time depending on your brightness and whether you have Bluetooth on, Wi-Fi on, etc. As time goes on, I think the S9 Plus, after about a year, it's going to be struggling to make it through one day at all. You're going to have to probably top it off sometime in the afternoon. Well, the Huawei P20 Pro will probably be chugging all the way to evening, even a year from now. The Huawei P20 Pro is certainly geared toward a heavier user that uses their battery quite a bit more often. That said, the S9 Plus has wireless charging. The Huawei does not have wireless charging, though they both have fast charging available, which both of them top off in about an hour and a half. So that means that this one actually charges a little bit faster, considering that it has a larger battery. Now, as far as performance goes, you can get the Galaxy S9 Plus in two different variations, depending on if you're in the US or an international user. The international version comes with the Exynos processor, and it's a little bit faster than the Snapdragon version sold in the United States. Now, both of those versions will be quite a bit faster than the Huawei P20's Kirin 970 processor. The Kirin 970 is about 30 to 40% slower, so if you're wanting the maximum performance for video editing on your phone or playing high-end games or just future-proofing your phone in general, the S9 Plus is a clear winner in the performance category. That said, in day-to-day use, both phones seem to perform basically identically. I couldn't tell a difference without performing a speed test, which I plan on releasing in the near future. As far as extended features go, we've got the Galaxy S9 with a micro SD card slot as well as a headphone jack, and of course the aforementioned wireless charging, which I think all three of those things are absolutely fantastic. The P20 Pro, on the other hand, has a dual SIM adapter, which is really handy if you travel between areas with different carriers and you want to switch between carriers on the fly. The P20 Pro also came with a screen protector and a clear case inside of it, which I think is fantastic. The Huawei people are just saying, here, take care of your beautiful, amazing phone. Now with the Galaxy S9, I've got the blue version here, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic, but I also think the purple is just gorgeous. And for the Huawei P20, they have a number of colors, but this is the best. I think it's the Twilight Edition. I actually paid about $70, $80 extra because I had to buy this phone off eBay, and the Twilight Edition is just that much extra. I think this is the prettiest back on any phone I've seen so far. Now, as far as cameras go, we have a dual 12 megapixel camera on the Galaxy S9 Plus, along with an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. And on the Huawei P20 Pro, we have a whopping 40 megapixel main camera sensor, which is an extra big sensor, by the way. And on top of that, we have a 20 megapixel monochrome sensor for picking up extra details, as well as an 8 megapixel 3x optical zoom. Now, we have optical image stabilization on both back cameras on the Galaxy S9 Plus, while we only have the optical image stabilization on the 3x zoom with the P20 Pro. And of course, I gotta mention the front camera on the P20 Pro is actually a 24 megapixel monster as well. So that's 2 times the resolution of the S9 Plus's back camera. These two companies have dramatically different approaches to their camera setups. Which one is better? Now, there is a lot of potential detail I could go into with the tech specs of each of these cameras and how each of them work, but I'm gonna save all of that technical breakdown for a camera comparison between these two flagship phones. In this video, I'm gonna give you just the essential breakdown between these two. For photos, the P20 Pro captured better detail in bright light because of that massive 40 megapixel sensor. That said, the S9 Plus was no slouch, and it was more consistent handling colors and exposure, and has more powerful video modes such as 4K 30 frames per second stabilized. Well, the Huawei P20 Pro has 4K 30 frames per second, but it is not stabilized, so I don't think very many people would even use it. Now, the P20 Pro is capable of recognizing what you're taking photos on the fly, such as a dog or green objects, but I still felt like the S9 Plus still managed to take better photos more consistently, at least on the main camera. Now, the main advantage to the P20 Pro is its versatility. It's way better at taking photos late at night. It has a dedicated night mode that just really shines with that 3-camera setup. It also has way more pixels if you're trying to crop in on your photos, and its optical 3x zoom is far superior to the S9 Plus if you're trying to zoom in on your subject. Additionally, the front camera on the Huawei is far better at taking photos, but video mode felt about the same. But I found front video to be much better on the Galaxy S9 Plus, with the P20 Pro overexposing much more often and blowing out the highlights a lot more. Overall, both cameras are fantastic. The Huawei is going to take slightly less saturated colors unless you go into vivid mode, where the Galaxy S9 Plus is basically going to be full saturated all the time, and it's going to look really good with, I think, a little bit better HDR mode. It does a little bit better job maintaining focus and getting consistently sharp photos. For me, if you're looking for the versatility in a still camera, the Huawei P20 is the one to go with. If you're looking for one that is just a more consistent shooter, the S9 is probably a little bit better, and for videos, the S9 Plus is a clear winner in my opinion. But seriously, I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed with either of these phones. The camera is fantastic on both of them. To wrap this up, there's one other thing we need to talk about, and that is Huawei not being available in the United States. If you want to know more about why Huawei is not available in the United States in a general retail shops, I'll have a link down below where I explain it in my top 5 smartphone videos, where I talk about the Huawei P20 Pro for a bit. In order to purchase this Huawei phone, I had to go online and order it through eBay, which meant paying above the average retail price for it, especially since it's the Twilight color. So I actually paid more for my Huawei P20 by a bit than the S9 Plus. That said, if you're buying this internationally where both phones are available in your local shop, the Huawei P20 will be a little bit cheaper. So which of these phones should you buy? If you value recording videos, having the highest performance processor possible, the brightest screen in outdoor environments, wireless charging, and a headphone jack, those are the real strengths of the Galaxy S9. But if you love having incredible battery life, dual SIM cards, and a very versatile camera setup, then the Huawei P20 is for you. So that's my comparison of the Huawei P20 Pro versus the Galaxy S9 Plus. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more tech videos in the near future, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. And don't forget to enter that iPhone 8 Red Edition giveaway, a link in the description and the top comment for that as well. That's it for this episode of Gizmo Slip Tech. We'll see you next time. Brandon, out.